Now, you see, let me just tell you the truth. It may not be what you want to hear, but at the end of the day, it's the truth, all right? Avoid having what we call the joint financial account. Just avoid it. Well, you know what? There is these people who usually approach me a lot of the time because I get called. And by the way, if you'd like to call me, then my number is always on the description of this specific video. And they're telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I just got married and then we decided to have a joint account. Right now, I realize I made the biggest mistake. Now the problem is, how do I get out of it? Because if I dare get out of it, then it will be so much questioned like, hey, where are you going and why are you doing this? It's not what we agreed and all those kind of things. And again, I'm going to give a disclaimer as early as this on this video. And I'm not saying people should not have joint accounts. This is what exactly I would advise you to do so that you avoid all these sort of marriage wrangles and money related kind of issues. By the way, if you didn't know, the divorces that we have in this world, not only in Kenya, wherever you guys are watching from, over 75% of them are actually contributed by the finances. It's true. Everything trickles down to the finances. That's for sure. So if you get it right when you're starting it, then everything will be good. Now, this is the point. See, when you get started, let's say you guys, you're coming together, you always have all this mentality of naivety. You know, you come on board and you think like the other partner thinks the way you're thinking, and then you guys are on the same mission and everything gonna be all right. We are one and everything like, it's okay. But as the time goes, you realize you people, you have two different personalities because there is something called finance personalities. You know, there's something called finance personalities. You are different from a different person, depends on how you perceive money, because different people perceive different money different way. For example, number one, we have these people, we call them the spenders. You know, we have people, we call them the spenders. There are people who we call them the hoarders, you know, the hoarders. These are the people who just hold money dearly. Though, I will explain, let me just list them down, okay? And the third one, we have these people who are called the investors, you know. There are people who are called the investors. Now, what happens when you have, and then we have another personality that is called minimalist. You know, minimalist, or we also call them the frugals and such kind of things. Now, if you do not understand the partner's personality, you can get yourself into lots of problems. For example, let me explain. Spenders, obviously, from the name, obviously, these are people who have high appetite in terms of spending. The consumerism appetite is very high. The moment they get money, they think about making themselves happy, going out, spending, going for an outing, road drive, and everything. Just consuming money. They are that way, okay? Then we have a different people who are called the hoarders. These are the people who they really try the much they can. They are workaholic. They just work, they get the money, they hoard it. You see, the way you hoard is to retain it, to absorb it, to keep it. It's just to keep it continuously, not on the purposes of investing, just to keep it. You know, because you are told money is scarce, money is limited out there. When you get it, save it and save it and save it. You just keep it, just keep it. These are people, don't confuse hoarders with investors. These hoarders, they are people who just get money, they keep it. You sell them an idea of investing. No, they're just skeptical, paranoid. Hey, how about I lose my money? I don't want to invest. They just hoard the money. You know, they appear as if they are scared or something of sort. Now we have the investors. Obviously, these are the people who spends, but spends on the purposes of investing, because investors, they're also spenders. But now spenders, they are entirely spending for consumerism, but this one they spend when they are investing. See, when they take the money, they save the money. First of all, it has to start with saving the money. You save the cash, then once you get the cash, you invest it somewhere. So those are investors. And obviously, you know, those are the best people you have on earth, all right? That's why maybe you have that job, because if you are employed privately. Okay, now the part D, that is the minimals, the minimalist and frugals. These are people who believe, hey, well, I'm supposed to live in minimal life. Just because I have it does not mean I should spend it. You know, they have a lot of properties, but you can't even find them working, and they have the capacity like to purchase like the most expensive car, but they're just there. They don't view life from that perspective. Like we had a central bank governor of Kenya. That guy was not even getting the salary. The salary was getting in and going to the church. See, they are people, okay, they may not fit into the minimalist or the frugal, but there are people who really don't associate themselves with the properties or something of sort. But that, I know, may sound kind of different, but frugal people are people who make money actually. They get paid, they get money, they have it, but they don't spend it. You get the thing? Now, this is the point why I'm telling you should avoid the financial joint account, unless I will explain it later. Now, can you imagine this? If a spender joins hands with somebody like who is frugal. Now, I mean, seriously, can you think, based on the explanation that I have, now this is a spender, joint hands with a frugal person, and then they have a joint account. One has the high appetite of spending, the other one view it differently. Or maybe let's say spender, joint account with an investor. This one spends for the purposes of them feeling happy. This one actually spends on the purposes of them investing. Obviously, they're going to crash somewhere. And this is why I always tell people, as much as you people, you on board as one party in terms of the marriage and what have you, understand when it comes to finances, people are wired differently. People have different wire. People have different software in their head that perceive money differently. So it is good before you actually go ahead and have a joint account, it's good you pass them all through these tests so that you know exactly whom am I dealing with. And by the way, if I decide to become frugal and these people are spenders, what problem can actually that result? Will we actually get into wrangles and what we call the commotions and what have you? It is good when you understand that specific thing out there. All right. Now, the issue of having what we call a joint financial account, it is not bad. It is not out of ordinary. It is okay. You can have it, provided on the basis of you understand your partner, you understand what guys you are after, and that way you can go ahead and have the joint account. And again, hey, does it mean that if you guys join together hands with somebody who is a spender, now you should not have a joint account? No, I'm not saying that. It's okay, you can have a joint account on this basis. There is that joint account that I actually say this is for what we call home spending. There's that joint account called home spending. For example, hey, maybe the two of you are working and then maybe you have decided you'll be contributing. It depends on what percentages. Nowadays I heard there is even 50-50 thing or whatever. You guys, however you guys doing it. I'm not here to force down your throat what you should be doing in your home. It is working way before you get my advice. So I don't think my advice will be so good on that. So the point is this, however you guys doing it, yeah? So the point is this, you can have that we call a joint account. This joint account is purposefully meant for catering the home activities, like paying, let's say, the rent, buying for the food, maybe taking care of the kids in terms of their effects and maybe doing some shoppings and all those kind of things. So if you can come up with that joint account whereby, depends on you guys, maybe let's say the guy is making maybe let's say 100 G's in a month, and the lady maybe say there's making a half of that, or vice versa. Nowadays there is that. Again, we are living in a very funny times. Whatever the thing you guys, and maybe let's say the guy contributes this, maybe let's say, maybe you guys you need like 50K, maybe you need like 50K for the recurrent expenditures. Maybe the guy is contributing, maybe let's say the 40 G's, maybe the guy is contributing 40 G's and the lady is throwing in the 10K that is remaining out there. So you can decide to open a joint account, but this joint account is purposely for what? For home spending and what have you, so that at least by the time you decide we survive on 50,000, you already know if that account has money, they don't have to call you asking for money for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they can just go head over to the board, to the account. And again, if let's say this 50K is assigned for the 30 days, that's for a month, then it means that, hey, you ain't gonna expect any call telling me the money is not enough and such kind of a things, unless a thing happens which was unanticipated and such kind of a thing. So having that kind of a joint account, that's amazing. And again, I will say this does not rule out the fact that you can't have a joint account. There are people who find the husband is making 100 G's, the wife is making 50 G's, and they're putting all that amount in one account. It works. Just because it doesn't work for you, for some people it works. So you guys work for that, works for you. That's for sure. You don't have to take something that works for other people and try to, force it down to your throat and say, hey, guess what? Joseph say this is the way to go. No, I do not mean that way. Okay? Pick that what works for you. All right? But I know when you talk this message to Africans, and see, in African society, we're really not used to having joint accounts and what have you. Maybe if you're watching this from the West, yeah, it's not a, it's not a new thing. We've been doing this thing like for quite a long time. It is okay, but this one is quite strange in African society. We really don't do this. Men's account are men's account, the ladies' account are ladies' account. And that's why they say a man's money is everyone's money, but ladies' wire money is her money. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, the point is this. Anyway, anyone has the right to actually chip in whenever they realize they ought to chip in. For example, say there is a sort of a cash crunch or something, or a need has arisen, then anyone can actually participate for the purposes for working of this institution that you guys are working out there. Let me just give you a disclaimer of the things why I actually I was compelled to make this video. I have been having lots of clients are telling me, hey, you know what? I made a joint account with my husband. Right now, wherever the guy he is, he drinks a lot. He gets the money from the joint account. He purchases things without my consent. We do not even agree and all those kind of things. I feel like I'm being cheated along the way. What exactly can I be able to do? And I ask them, okay, fine. What are some of the characters of the husband? Does he do this? Does he do the other? Does he do this? Like you examine so that you can actually try to sort of identify the character of that individual or the finance of the money personality. And the moment you decide, or the moment you determine, oh wow, they bear this personality, and then you ask the wife, they tell you like this or vice versa. And then sometimes you can even get called by a guy, hey, you know what, I made a joint account with my wife, and where I am right now, she's just sending money back home, her home, I do not know, we are not even progressing, blah, 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 blah. See, anything related to finance and marriages is quite so popular nowadays, and people find like, hey, they get cheated by the others. So the point is this: if you guys work for a point whereby you can have individual accounts, see, them knowing how much you work, again, if you guys, you're working for that basis and you're okay with each other, knowing how much each other makes, well and good. If you are not comfortable with that, again, make sure that it doesn't cross the line. At the end of the day, I always tell people, as much as we have this, there's something we used to learn back when I was in high school called independent assortment. Even if we are twins, we bear our own different and specific and unique biological things. So as much as you guys, you're married, as much as people term you as one, you still bear different softwares. Maybe let's say you guys, you married at 25. You guys have been having a 25-year-old software. There's something that has been inculcated in you as far as the finance and money are concerned. So you're bringing that on board, and I'm bringing my software on board. We have been wired differently. And the moment I try to sort of, adjust your understanding and tell you, hey, join my way, you'll be like, hey, why should I join my way? Why don't you join my way? And all those kind of things. And at that particular point, you realize, hey, before we work on our softwares, why don't we be having a separate accounts? You have your money, I have my money. Whenever you want to buy something, you contribute, I contribute. Or maybe the agreement here is, hey, husband does everything, so you do the thing, if that works for you. And that's why I always tell people, there are some of the hard questions you need to ask before getting somebody on board. And I'm so scared sometimes when I see people making a decision of getting married on the basis of, he loves me, she loves me, we love each other. That's so scary. I really hate that. That's a factor to consider. Obviously, it's one of the big factors or major factors to consider. It's also good to have a spillover towards the financial life. Like, do you work? Do you earn? Well, wow, how do you perceive investments? Like, oh, have you been investing or something? Also, you don't have to go to the specificities of the investments, so that at least you can know the type of an animal you are getting, the type of an individual, not an animal, but obviously we are animals, right? But type of an individual that you're getting on board with, so that at least you don't act strangely after 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You're like, damn, I didn't even know you actually behave like that. So that's the best factors that you're supposed to consider out there. And then maybe if you realize you guys, you're already on board and you're having a crisis and wrangles, why don't you bring experts on board? Why don't you bring some people who can actually sit you down as couples and tell you, hey, guess what? This is not going right. This is not going wrong. This is that. This is this. This is that. And I think you guys, you should be doing this and that and that kind of a thing. Yeah. That's the reality. That is exactly how I would advise you to do, so that at least, hey, we don't want to hear another strange divorce out there. All right. So anyway, guys, that's the end of my submission on this video. But don't forget, you can always pick that number of mine out there from the description of this specific video. How about you approach me on that couples package? It's actually out there, and it's so good, and it can actually help you to putting your finances in order. Pick that number of mine on the description of this specific video. My email is also there. You can shoot me an email, and we can have that discussion for the just cup of coffee price. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one. And by the way, don't forget to hit the subscription button down below there, so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new good videos here.